because Sanford was just plain wrong, and no geneticist accepts genetic entropy.
Are you drunk?
God can design anything he wants any way he wants. And we are looking at people today and animals today that are a copy off a copy off a copy off a copy off a copy of the original. It's amazing we can still sit and think and talk. So I think the fact that we're able to move at all is evidence of an incredible first generation copy of Adam. And we have degraded since then. Average person now has 3,500 defective genes, just like my old van out here with 316,000 miles. Well, it ain't what it used to be when it was brand new, but hey, it still works. It's not too bad. And so for the designer to make an original creation with a gene code that can be passed on hundreds, if not thousands of generations and still be working at all. Tell you what, get a computer code, any code, get Microsoft Word, Microsoft PowerPoint, make a copy of it onto a disk. Then make a copy of the copy. Then make a copy of the copy of the copy. Do that for 500 generations and tell me if it'll still run. It won't. It'll corrupt. The fact that we're having this conversation at all, even if we have a few genetic flaws inherited over the years, is evidence of a common designer, not a common ancestor.
We don't need to have a physical ancient man in our possession to prove that they had less mutations than current humans do. Of course it would be nice, but it's unnecessary. We can infer this information based on observable, testable evidence shown that humans are increasing in mutations per generation worldwide. Looking at ancient man is good, of course, but the most of the oldest body's DNA is pretty much tainted or degraded too much. But when we have evidence proving W, X, Y, and Z occurring in order down the line in every human being, then it's pretty obvious to assume that V, U, T, and S will exist in that order going back in time. This is just simple logic. Natural selection cannot erase accumulating mutations fast enough for evolution to be possible. And now we know for a fact that regulatory and repetitive DNA sequences accumulate mutations at a rate of 64 to 175 depending on the study. The 2012 Science study, the author used 3 methods to estimate the likelihood that new variants would have a neutral, possibly damaging, or probably damaging effect. Why was there no category for beneficial variants? It's because there are too few, if any, variants that could even fall into such a category. In 2004, Bergman had studied the topic of beneficial mutations. Among other things, he did a simple literature search using biological abstracts and Medline. He found 453,732 mutation hits, but among these, only 186 mention the word beneficial. That's about 4 in 10,000. When those 186 references were reviewed, almost all the beneficial mutations were only beneficial in a very narrow sense of the word. Each mutation consistently involved loss of overall function changes, such as escape from adaptive conflict. These observable, testable pieces of data prove that mutations will never bring bacteria to humans or fish to fishermen. I remind you, the Human Genetic Mutation Database maintains a record of disease-causing genetic mutations in human DNA at a population level. Over 3 months, more than 6,000 new harmful genetic mutations were registered. That is an annual growth of over 24,000. These are not being weeded out via selection. The human genome is rapidly deteriorating. I do not understand why people don't see this. We study humans far more than we ever do animals when it comes to disease, and there are over 203,885 disease-causing genomic mutations in the human genome at a population level as of 2017. The number is rapidly getting higher. 1 in 5 healthy adults carry disease-related genetic mutations. Scientists are in a hurry to develop gene editing architectures like CRISPR to help combat this huge problem. The human Y chromosome is rapidly losing genetic material as well.
It's totally made up. Pure fiction. It's fiction. It's fiction. We made it up. We made this one up. It's a made-up tale. It's a total fabrication. It never happened. It never happened. This one was invented.